Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you a really cool photo manipulation. Basically you can make some sort of reflection in the sky which gonna look really dreamy and kind of science fictional, and everybody gonna love it. So let's get into it. So for this photo manipulation I've used 5 photos which I've took from Pixabay, and I'm gonna put the link in the description. I'm just gonna show you the photos really quickly. One astronaut, one balloon, one sky for the background, kind of a spacey theme, one planet, and some sunset. Well, there is no actually real sunset in the sky, but well, we're gonna just make it unreal. That's what we are looking for in photo manipulation. So let's get into it. I'm gonna keep it as fast as possible so that I don't get you bored. So the first thing we're going to do is to open a new document, 1800 to 2100 pixelish. So that's what I've used. You can also use different sizes depending what you want to take out of it. The first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna drag the sky and place it into the document, and I'm just going to resize it a little bit more than half of the document, maybe a little bit bigger. That's kind of okay. And what I'm going to do is to give it a reflection, maybe just a little bit smaller. Yes, so I just make a copy out of it, Ctrl J, and I press Ctrl T for transferring it, and just flip it vertically and drag it down and place it just here. So maybe a little bit to the right and up, and that's great. That's already the background we are looking for. So I'm gonna give some light in this area, make it a little bit brighter, and this area's a little bit darker, but I can do the dark part also at the end to give it a vignette. So what I'm going to do, I'm give it a curve adjustment layer and brighten all of it, and I go to the mask and press Ctrl I to reverse it, and I take the brush, the white brush, make it a little bit bigger, and just click 1-2 times here to have a brighter middle of it. So the next thing I'm going to do, I just go to hue saturation, play with the light a little bit to get what I'm actually looking for, what actually I like. You don't have to do these steps exactly as I do, but you can just play with this stuff and get what you actually look for. So we are almost done with the background, and the next thing we are going to do, I'm going to take this planet. I just use this quick selection tool to select this part, and I'm going to unselect this area with the minus selection tool, and here you go, we have the planet selected. I go to the move tool, drag the planet, go to the document and place it right over there, and it's too big. So what we are going to do, Ctrl T, transform it, make it smaller. Still too big for me, so like this should be cool. So I just press enter and place it there. So again we need a reflection of that. Ctrl J, Ctrl T, flip vertical, and I place it right down there. So it's actually bigger than this area, the reflected area. So what we are going to do, I'm gonna resize it a little bit, but just vertically, and then I'm going to image, transform, and insert. Just play with it a little bit to change the perspective, and it should be fine. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm gonna give it some motion blur. Maybe I just make it a little bit smaller. You know, I'm really picky about the size. So what I'm going to do, I'm give it a motion blur so it has some waveish effect on it. So I go to the blur, motion blur, maybe like 15% should be fine, or 20 is good, and I press OK. I can also give a little bit of motion blur to the reflected area, which actually might be nice, but not 20 pixel, maybe 2 pixel or 3 is already good enough, and I press OK. And let me group this layer together so that we are a little bit more organized. I call it sky, I call it planet. So we're gonna go to the curve layer and clip it with the planet. Just play a little bit. I'm gonna make it a little bit darker. Just bring it down so that it affects to both of them. Yes, like this. I also go to hue saturation, desaturate it a little bit, and give it the brightness, make it a little bit lower. And I'm gonna make a new layer here and go grab a brush with a color of a little bit bluish, not too much, and I'm just gonna slightly touch some light in this area, and I go and play with the modes. Maybe overlay is actually a great mode here to make this area a little bit more brighter. Yeah, that's really good in my opinion. But what I'm not still satisfied is with the down part here, and I'm gonna just go to hue saturation and make the reflected area a little bit darker, desaturated, so that we kind of realize that's a reflection. And I go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur, and give it maybe a blur of 1 pixel. That's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more light. Yeah, that's in my opinion amazing. So the next thing we are going to do is to add the sunset. Just grab the sunset, maybe before that just cut the area that I need like this, and then move it and place it to my document like here. Make it smaller first, so that it fits exactly. I should find the center line. Yes, here. So I place enter and I drag it down behind the planets. So here I make a group of it, sunset. So what I'm going to do, I make a layer mask, invert the mask, grab a brush, some foggy brush, some clouds, which you can also really download it simply from different websites which offer free brushes. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna resize my brush a little bit and go slowly with color white, slowly color up this area to get some sunset out till I'm satisfied with that. That's, in my opinion, good. And I make a copy of that and flip it again vertically and place it here to have its reflection on the water. Yes, that's great. Maybe just a little bit more higher. Yeah, that's fantastic. Again, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, maybe blur of 1.5 pixel, and then filter, blur, motion blur, maybe like distance of 5, and we are almost done with that. So the next thing I'm going to do, just give some color balance to the sunset, maybe a little bit of reddish and pinkish. That's good. A little bit of blue, and I make a curve place it out there, clip it with this area, the sunset. Okay, so make a curve, clip it with the sunset, and then invert it and make this area a little bit lighter. That's almost what I was looking for. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm gonna go grab the astronaut, just press the P for the pen tool. Because the astronaut gonna be really small, doesn't really need to be cut so in detail. That's why I'm just gonna do it really fast. But if you are actually looking for some prints, if you are thinking to print out your photo manipulation, so it's better to choose your picture from stocks with really high resolution, because that's gonna actually help you to have really high quality photos, and you can simply print them, and well, you can also sell them at some point. But if you're just doing it for, I don't know, some social medias like Instagram or something, because the photo's gonna turn out at the end really small, it doesn't really matter to really think of these details, you know, because nobody gonna zoom on it. But yeah, if you have time for it, just do it. It's gonna be a nice work at the end. So I made a selection already. I go grab the astronaut and place it to my document. Oops, here, yes. and just bring it all the way up, and I'm gonna flip it horizontally as if he's walking that way. Make it a little bit smaller, place him there. That's great in my opinion. And what I'm going to do is to make a reflection, like some sort of shadows of him. So I go, maybe I just make it transparent shadows as if that's the water. I make a copy of it, again Control T, vertically, place him here, and I'm gonna change the opacity really, bring the opacity really down, like 37% is good. So I press T again to make this a little bit longer, maybe it's better. And then I go to Edit, Transform, and Distort. I'm gonna just grab him and place him like here. You have to play with it so that you get what you want out. So I guess that's what I was actually looking for. So I just gonna zoom in. We need still some little adjustments here. So yes, that should be fine. As I said, that's so detailed, you don't really need to, because I want to keep the video short. I'm not gonna go and make everything perfect. So that's pretty much done. I go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, give it a little bit of blur, 1,5. Again, Filter, Blur, Motion Blur, maybe 10 pixel, and boom, we are done with that. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just gonna make a new layer, make a clipping mask, then fill it with gray, gonna go to overlay, gonna zoom in and grab the burn tool, just give it some dodge and burn here, make the exposure a little bit higher, because the light is actually coming from in front of him, so his back should be really dark. And I grab the dodge tool a little bit to give this area also a little bit of light, that's kind of front of him. Again, I grab the burn tool, gonna burn this area a little bit more, and that's almost way better than the beginning. Here is the difference. So the last step is to add this balloon there. I'm gonna also select it really quickly with the quick selection tool, just make it a little bit round, this area. Yeah, that's a fair selection for this little bit of time. Just gonna grab it and place it to my document, bring it all the way up, Control T, sorry, first make a copy of it, Control T, flip vertically and place it all the way down there, make the opacity down, go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian blur 1,8, filter blur, motion blur maybe 7 pixel, and we are almost done with that. But I'm also going to give some dodge and burn to the balloon, so I'm gonna make this area a little bit darker. To make it somehow three-dimensional when you look at it from the way back, it looks more real. So that's good. So here's the difference, and it's actually too much of difference. So the last thing I'm going to do is I make a new layer, grab my brush, just a normal brush with the hardness of 0, and I make it big like that, and I grab some near really lightly of cyan, and I'm just gonna add some lights here like that. Then I go press Ctrl T, resize the light, till I'm satisfied. Like this is good. Then I go to the fill, make it 0, and I slightly come up till I'm totally satisfied with that. Maybe 70% is good. And the last step, I just add some gradient maps. I always go to the soft light, that's my favorite, and this one is my most favorite gradient map. Almost in all of my work I use it, and I'm super satisfied with that. You see already the difference is great. I make the opacity a little bit down. Again, I used another gradient map. You just have to play around with it. You never know which one gonna work for you, but probably this one is also nice. I love it. Then I make Control Alt Shift E, make a merge layer of all of them. Then I go to filter, camera raw filter. Then I give it a little bit of varnish temperature, maybe a little bit of magneto, yeah. Then I make the exposure more, then you see this area is more brighter. I give it some contrast, that this darker area be darker. Maybe the exposure is a little bit too much. Then I make highlight to have more lights there. Make the shadow a bit down because it's too dark. Just play around with it. This clarity has really amazing effect in some photos. Let's see if it has a good effect on this one as well. Just make it up. It make it a bit dreamy, but it make the stars so white, so not so happy with that. Maybe 4% is good. The vibrance is okay. And the last thing I'm going to do, I just go give it a nice vignette, maybe like that, and I change the midpoint, and yeah, should be nice. And we are done with it. A really amazing photo manipulation, which you can simply make it if you're a beginner, if you're intermediate or an advanced. That's already a good one. to try it. So if you like the video, please comment below what do you think about it. Ask me any question if you have, and if you liked it, press the like button and don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna upload a video weekly, and if you have any request, any videos that you wanna see, please let me know. And I'm thinking to make a Photoshop tutorial video of all of the tools here that we have. And if you are really new to Photoshop, please stay tuned. I'm gonna finish that video probably by the end of this month and upload it. So I wish you guys a nice time and see you till next time. Bye bye.